What's up, guys? It's Franklin from Dual Humor, and I'm back with another deck profile, this time of Mathmechs 2019 December list. Yeah, definitely wanted to profile this. Did the Dragon Maids, wanted to do Mathmechs. Personally, Mathmechs is one of my favorite decks of that box. It looks cool. It's pretty awesome. It's kind of nerdy, so it kind of reminds me of me, basically. So I wanted to bring you guys a nerdy deck profile for all my geek squads out there. Before the end of the year. Alright, so let's get started with Mathmechs, guys. The Mathmech deck profile. So I'm going to start out with 3 Sigma. Sigma is one of the heart and souls of the deck. Probably the second best card of Mathmechs. It's a free summon. Doesn't require tribute or anything. If you control no monsters in the main the extra monster zone, you could just special summon. It could be in the graveyard, so it's really nice, and it could be treated as a tuner for a synchro summon. Obviously, the only downside of it is that you cannot special summon any monster from the main monster zone that isn't a Cyverse after you activate his effect. But it's really good. I would say second best Mathmech card easily. And for the first best Mathmech card is Nabla. Mathmech Nabla, basically, he can special summon any Mathmech from your deck just by tributing one monster. Doesn't have to be a Mathmech, just one Cyverse monster, guys. Just one. And, yeah, and when he's sent to the graveyard for anything, if he's sent for the graveyard for anything and you control an extra deck monster, a monster from the extra deck zone, a Cyverse monster from the extra deck zone, it can attack twice per turn, so it's really good for OTKing with Final Sigma. So it's a must-have at 3. Definitely a good card. You search it out. If you don't have him in your opening hand, you definitely search him out, and if you do, you get Sigma. So those are the 2 best cards for Mathmechs right now. Good starter cards. And then you got 3 subtractions. Subtraction is kind of the same thing like Sigma in a way, where you have to target a face-up monster on the field, and you cannot special summon. Obviously, it restricts you to Cyverse monsters that you can special summon from the extra monster zone. If you do, the monster you targeted loses 1,000, hence the name of subtraction, and then this card can be special summoned from your hand. So it's not as good as Sigma, because Sigma could be special summoned from the graveyard, but subtraction is pretty good because it lowers the attack of your opponent's monsters and it gives you another body, so it's really good in that sense. So I definitely did max out at 3 for the OTK potential. And then you got 2 addition. Kind of mixed it up. Addition usually comes before subtraction in math when you're learning, like in preschool and in middle schools. But yeah, addition, 2 of. It's a good card because it does the same thing as subtraction, but it adds 1,000 to the monster. So you usually do this on your monsters, not your opponents, obviously, because then it's gonna make it harder to OTK. But yeah, basically it's really good. You can target a monster, you can special summon it, and then if you do, the target gains 1,000. So nice and easy to remember. Now, time for the big guys, the multiplication. Mathmech multiplication, really good card. Don't want to max out on too much because it's not a good starter card. It's more of a ender. So if you could target a level 4 Cyverse monster you control, its levels become 8 until the end of the turn, so it's good to synchro summon the big guy, the Final Sigma. And if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target 1 Cyverse monster you control in your extra monster zone, and it becomes double, so it OTK like crazy. It can make the 3,000 guy to 6,000. So yeah, really good. Definitely 2 of. Don't want to see too many of them unless you're already getting into your combo pieces. And the last Mathmech monster is Mathmech Division. Basically the same as subtraction, but you could target 1 monster and it divides its attack by half. So it's really good in the sense of that it makes your opponent's monsters weaker, their attack, for the OTK potential as well. So when you combo it off with multiplication, it equals big damage, guys. Yeah. Time for another starter card, Balancer Lord. Balancer Lord is really good because if you just pay 1,000, it lets you get an additional normal summon this turn. And then if it's in the graveyard, you just banish it. You can special summon a level 4 or lower monster from your hand, basically. So it's a really good additional card, and it sets up for a lot of rank 4 plays, as well as if you don't have your combo pieces, it can set up for the OTK power. So definitely must run at 3. Let me adjust all this, the Mathmech cards, put them in one pile, because now we're getting into like the more trolly things. So put them right there, right here, and now we got 3 Gamma Seals, the Kaiju. Definitely, sometimes you got big boards. Your opponent has big boards. You want to kaiju over something that's invincible or very disruptive to your combo pieces and your plays. It also leaves a monster in attack position, because if you're playing Mathmechs and your opponent knows game 3 that you're playing Mathmechs, they're not gonna set a monster. They're not gonna put a monster in attack for you to OTK. This deck suffers from not having the ability to pierce through your opponent's monsters. So its biggest weakness is if the opponent sets everything in defense, like, or if you're playing like Guru or something like that, it falters in that aspect. So if you have a Gamma Seal, you know guaranteed they're gonna have a face-up monster on the field. So really good. Then you got 3 Ash, standard hand trap. And now for the spells, you got 2 equations. Basically, a monster reborn for them. You target a monster, and it gains 1,000. It's special summon from the graveyard. It could be the synchro. So yeah, let me move all this. So we're on to the spells. So 2 equation, 2 desires, standard. You want to draw power. 3 minings. You want to search out for your Cypher cards. I know it's expensive. This is an expensive card. It's getting reprinted soon. So get them while you can. And obviously when they come out Ultra. And yeah, good card. You have to play it. You need the consistency. And then you got 1, obviously, of the Mathmech Equip card, which is really good, because if you're a Mathmech or a Cyrus, it could be a Cyrus monster, battles an opponent's monster during the damage calculation, you can send a Mathmech from your deck to the graveyard, and it gains the attack the Mathmech equipped to this card, or the Cyrus card monster equipped to this card. And if it's sent from the monster spell and trap zone to the graveyard, you can target a Mathmech from your graveyard and add it to your hand. So it's a recyclable card. It kind of reminds me of the Despot, I think number 3, that you could just send a Despot and it gains the attack. So it basically makes your Mathmech that's equipped to this invincible to attack. Really good. 3 Call by the Graves. You don't want to get hand trapped in this deck. This deck suffers from not being able to recover from certain hand traps at certain key moments. So yeah. More hand traps. Speaking of hand traps, 3 impermanences, really good. Probably one of the best hand traps in the format. Then you got 1 Super Fractal, and Super Fractal is a good card because it's a good going first card. You set it and you do your combo plays, which I'm going to show you. Turn 1, your Link monsters, and then at the end of the turn, you want to. At the end of your opponent's turn, you want to activate this card. You can special summon up to 3 Cyverse monsters, and then like Synchro Summon or XYZ Summon into your big Mathmech monsters, which are really good. So it's really good, and at worst, it's good protection from getting OTK'd that turn when you have to go first. And then obviously going first card is Imperial Order, because you could search it out, guys, with the new XYZ that they have, which is pretty awesome. So yeah, why not play Imperial Order? Now, on to the extra deck. Extra deck is 2 Final Sigmas. Obviously, your big boss monster to win games. 2 Magmas, which is really good. When he attacks, it pops to if it attacks, it destroys a monster by battle. So it's really awesome, and it's replacing because it adds a spell trap when it gets destroyed by card effect or by battle. So it's really good. And now for the links, we got Dark Fluid, just because it's a really good card. Got Nightmare Cerberus, obviously. You got Nightmare Phoenix. You got Link Disciple, one of the combo pieces with the deck. So you just summon Link Disciple, and then you could just summon this guy, which is Link the Bolty. He gets tributed. You get 2 tokens, and then you could draw a card, obviously, from Link Disciple. And then you obviously, with the tokens, you make a Cyverse Wicked, which searches out any Cyverse card basically and adds it to the hand. So it's really good. And then you got Link Karibo, can come up with the tokens. And then you got the big boy, two of the Prima Mathmech. Guy is busted because look at the card. So when you add this card is like it builds up, so it's plus two level 4s. So if you have 2 level 4s that you just XYZ for him, you can just add a Mathmech card from your deck to the grave. Yeah, from your deck to the hand. Yeah, just adding, searching, easy. 3, you can add a level 4 monster. Doesn't matter what level 4. It could be anything. It could be Summoner's Mark if you want. Level 4 monster from your deck to the hand. And then 4, if you have 4 materials on him, you can add any spell or trap from the deck to the hand. So usually I try to add 4 and then get Imperial Order if I'm going first and I know I'm playing something that's heavily reliant on spells like Sky Striker. And then 2 Prima Mathmech Leparcine, which is a good card. It's basically like the version of Trishula, or I think it's Ouroboros, Evil Summon Ouroboros, which it basically just sends one random card from the field, the graveyard, from the field, the hand, and it can also it can send a spell or trap your opponent controls to the graveyard. So it's really good. It requires 3 level 4s, so it's something that you want to do to out big boss monsters if they have like a very limited game state. So I wouldn't recommend playing it over, like, in terms of like which one I would go first priority. I would use obviously the pragmatic, this one, the one that searches out anything, because it enables more. But if it's in a primitive game state and you can out a big boss monster, use Lapricia. Sorry for the mispronunciation. Anyway, guys, that is it for my Mathmechs. I definitely want to do a little mini combo tutorial, but this video is a little long, so I'll definitely do it later on in another video. And I would like to thank you guys for your support and effort. And yeah, Franklin out. Peace, guys.